Oh boy, this is a great question. Why Americans love big cars? My friends, I have to be honest here. I love American cars, but every time I see one, I almost feel like all of you guys own SUVs or pickup trucks. Maybe this is a stereotype, and this video will explain me what is going on. But before I go into that, let me ask you for one thing. If you can leave a like, thank you so much. It's the best way to show support. Now, if you can subscribe, well, in that case, forget about it. You make my day. Have that in consideration. Link for the original video in my description, and let's play it. Actually, before we play it, do you guys agree with this? That Americans really love big cars?
In this low-lying car I drive in, I've been noticing...
Oh my god, you know what's crazy? That's a European car. I have a family member that have this model. I believe this is Volkswagen.
...something lately. When I'm sitting in traffic, I either can't see past the cars in front of me, or the cars are...
Holy sweet potato. You don't see anything.
When I'm sitting in traffic...
You know, maybe if you have a bigger car, you... Oh, but that's... if everyone thinks like that, everyone will buy bigger cars.
I either can't see past the cars in front of me, or the cars around me are towering over me. And it turns out there's a big reason for that. The production of passenger cars...
And you know what's crazy? This wagon she's driving, in Europe, we consider this, you know, a big car. Not a massive car, but a big car.
Like sedans and wagons for sale in the US has been in free fall since 1975. And in their place has been the steady growth in the production of SUVs. Last year, SUVs and trucks made up 80% of all new cars.
Oh! What? Okay, so this is not a stereotype at all. Trucks and SUVs are now over 80% of new car sales in the US?
Sales. Compare that to 52% in 2011. The fact that
that was not that long time ago.
Americans like big cars probably won't shock anyone. They are everywhere.
Fair.
Even in my parking-scarce neighborhood in Brooklyn. But the reasons behind this transformation are more than just cultural. It all goes back to a 50-year-old policy that we...
Sorry, my friends, I have to say something. We have to go back, but pay attention.
Transformation are more than just cultural. It all goes back...
My friends, old American cars are so damn beautiful. Look at that. Yo, I was watching a car that is an Impala. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. The old Mustangs are so damn sexy. Maybe I'm crazy, but I really like old American cars. I mean, I also like the cars you guys have nowadays, specific pickup trucks. I'm that type of guy. If I was living in America, I would spend all my salary to have the best pickup truck ever. But thank God, actually, I'm not living there because I would be broke. But they look awesome, I have to admit.
Policy that would kick off a huge shift in the way US cars are designed.
Look at this. Look at this blue car. What is this model? I have no idea, to be fair. But either way, this car, oh my god, my kid, my friends, I have a son. My kid is beautiful. This is gorgeous. We go into this.
So I'm driving from my home in Brooklyn, New York to a beach in Rhode Island for a summer vacation. Okay. And along the way, I'm going to piece together why big cars took over America.
Manual shifting. Yikes. Yeah, my car is also, man.
New York was the 45th state to officially succumb to the takeover of SUVs and trucks in 2014, according to this Washington Post analysis. Alaska was the first state to go big car dominant in the...
Well, Alaska, I understand this, right? Because makes a lot of sense. It's not easy to drive in Alaska.
1988. So I'm wondering if you have any advice for things I should look out for while I'm on the road.
Anywhere that you stop, count the number of SUVs versus the number...
You know what, my friends? You know what, my friends? You know what? One moment.
On the road.
Anywhere...
Wait.
That you stop, count the number of SUVs.
See the logo? Volkswagen. Is this how you say it in English? I'm saying the way we say it in Europe. I knew it. This was an European car.
SUVs versus the number
German.
of passenger cars.
Okay, we're in the Costco parking lot filled with SUVs.
1,
1, 2, 3,
three,
4,
4,
5,
5,
6,
6.
7, 8,
Oh my
9,
God.
10, 11 SUVs in a row.
Oh my God. And you know what's crazy? See, for me, okay, mixed feelings here. First of all, it's crazy the amount of SUVs. But now, where is the pickup trucks? Is this a state that does not have a lot of pickup trucks?
8.
Shocks me to see so many SUVs, but in other hand, also shocks me that we don't see any pickup trucks. Costco, one of the places I want to visit the most in America. That's beside the point, but Costco. Wow, I love Costco.
8, 9, 10, 11 SUVs in a row. I think
Wow.
that is my new record.
Oh, I saw pickup trucks right there. So maybe this was lucky for her to not count pickup trucks.
Once you learn about how much big cars dominate the road, it's like you can't unsee it. People have lots of reasons for choosing a big car, and certainly the infrastructure in the US supports that choice. Unlike a lot of other countries, our built environment
Spaghetti roads. Look at that.
certainly the infrastructure in the US supports that choice. Unlike a lot of other
Spaghetti, my friends. Damn, but this is a great point. To be fair, you guys have amazing structure to have big cars. Here in Europe, it would be impossible. You know, it would be impossible.
countries, our built environment revolves
Sorry, that said, I mean, I'm saying impossible for pickup trucks, to be fair. If everyone had a pickup truck, this would be a nightmare here. But SUVs, not like in America, but I believe is the type of car that sells the most here also.
around cars.
So there is
We
that.
have wide roads and wide, plentiful parking
Oh
spaces
my.
and homes with plenty of parking. I
Yeah.
arrived in Connecticut, a state that succumbed to light truck dominance in 2016, and pulled into a rest stop where I interviewed Thomas Bochenek, who was on a cross-country road trip with
That's a massive pickup truck. Is this what, a Ram? A Ram, maybe?
his wife.
It's very comfortable, okay, to drive. Well, I think the bigger the car, the more you have a feeling of security. You know, the smaller the car, you know, the more likely I think about getting into an accident and being hurt. It has no
Fair point to certain level, you know, but specific if you go, you know, and there is some crazy deer that bumps into you, you are more protected here than in a small car. But when it comes to have an accident, I don't know about that because everyone have crazy big cars in America. So kind of nullifies the point, you know.
Maybe trouble pulling this almost 7,000-pound trailer.
What? Well, my friends, sorry, a lot of questions on this video. This type of pickup truck, if you guys had to guess, horsepower, how much?
This almost 7,000-pound trailer.
I said how much? How many? Is it how many or how much? Well, either way.
In other countries, one deterrent for big cars is that they cost so much to fill up with gas. But due to low taxes on gas in the US, fuel is extremely cheap compared to other countries. But there's another overlooked
Damn, you guys are lucky. I pay so much.
bias towards big cars related to why SUVs exist in the first place.
Okay.
In the 1970s, there was a shortage of foreign oil in the US.
In America? No oil? No. What the hell is this?
1973 dramatized U.S. dependence on foreign oil.
So the US government set rules
Maybe Texas wasn't discovered or something? Because oil is everywhere in America. What is going on?
for automakers to start making cars more fuel efficient to lessen our dependence on the whims of the global oil market. By 1985, new cars had to get 27.5 miles per gallon, or roughly double their fuel efficiency. These new rules applied to cars like sedans and station wagons under a category
My friends, you guys may call me crazy. Station wagons are kind of sexy. You know, I like this.
known as passenger cars. But there were types of vehicles the US government exempted from these rules, things like pickup trucks, which everyday drivers weren't really driving at the time.
And the idea was if these are working vehicles used by, farmers, construction
Vintage pickup trucks. They look awesome.
crews, companies that are hauling freight, those vehicles need to be able to do their job without being choked by emissions controls and without being held to unrealistic fuel economy standards.
So passenger
Fair
cars
point.
got one set of strict rules.
Oh no, they create a loophole. So now they will turn this into a passenger car, but they will say still I understand.
And this other category, called light trucks, got another set of more relaxed standards. This regulation created an incentive for car makers to transform light trucks into a vehicle for everyday use.
I knew it.
Put in a radio, lots of cargo space, and comfy seats, and voila, that's how we got the SUV.
Okay, girls, we're off in our new Jeep Cherokee.
Because behind that classic appearance, it's rugged and powerful.
An automaker needs to spend less money and less time on fuel economy and
Jeep?
emissions improvement
I
if
had
they're
one.
making and selling an SUV because it falls under a category that is less stringently regulated.
We had the Wagoneer, but it was very low volume, very bespoke, very expensive. So only a very few people bought it. People that lived in Manhattan would go to the Hamptons or go to northern New York State to go skiing. And that's how the SUV started off life.
This is Ralph Gilles, head of design at Stellantis, a conglomerate of car companies that includes Jeep. One of the early SUVs was the Chevy Blazer, built on the frame of the Chevy S10 truck. This is the traditional definition of an SUV, if it was built on the frame of a truck. And to meet the legal definition of a light truck, it had to have some clearance angles and dimensions just right.
Taking a
Never
utilitarian
knew
vehicle
this.
and turning it into a almost a premium luxury device that happened to be utilitarian. Then comes the Grand Cherokee.
You know what, my friends? I had this car, the Jeep Grand Cherokee. My model was the one after this one. My model was from 99. It's a different model. This one, I believe, is 95 or something. I could be wrong. I love that car. I really miss my Jeep.
The Jeep Grand Cherokee was built the way passenger cars are, in one piece, or unibody. These two types of car constructions, frame-based and unibody, today form the distinction between traditional SUVs and the new, increasingly popular category of crossover.
They're more efficiently packaged. You don't have the frame.
The Grand Cherokee was part of the early success story of SUVs in the 90s and 2000s, one that continues today. This bias towards light trucks is why a
I still think the Jeep Grand Cherokee is a beautiful car.
company like Volkswagen, which once sold primarily passenger cars, has discontinued a lot of them today, like the Passat, in favor of SUVs and crossovers. And they've
What? The Passat is so famous here.
stopped producing all of their wagons, including the Jetta wagon I'm in. And a company like Ford has stopped producing all of their passenger cars except for the iconic Mustang. Okay, I'm going to see if anyone at this car dealership will talk to me.
Buick was always
Oh, friends, is it more expensive to buy a nice pickup truck in America or a nice Mustang? I'm talking about, let's say, the model from 2024, for example.
car, really. Those mostly sedans. And then just with the market shift, we actually don't even sell a Buick sedan anymore. They don't even make a Buick sedan. It's all crossovers.
When was the last time you guys carried like a Buick passenger car?
It was like 3 or 4 years ago.
And how many
Wow.
did you have on the lot?
Oh my God, this pickup truck, what the hell is this? This is a Ram.
Like 1 to
No, maybe it was a GMC. I don't even know that brand.
100 of SUVs. We're here to sell cars, but we want to sell what people want. If they were here and people didn't want them, I'm glad they're not here anymore, you know?
So this chart starts to make a lot more
This chart is crazy.
sense. 1975 was the year these fuel economy standards for sedans and wagons were passed, the same ones that didn't apply as strictly to SUVs and trucks.
It's a little bit of a chicken and egg thing because the automakers have been marketing SUVs more preferentially than passenger cars. They've been putting more research and development into creating more
And if I had to guess, they are more expensive than a normal car, let's say. So it makes sense for them to promote. Maybe that they make more money.
models that fit into the SUV category. And they've made it so that it's an easier decision to get into an SUV than
My friends, real talk, you guys may think André is criticizing American cars. No, if I was living in America, are you guys seeing that Ram right there? Maybe it's not a Ram. This Chevrolet, Chevy, I would drive that. That's a massive one. That would be my car in America.
it is to get into a passenger car.
As of 2016,
How much is a thing like that? I actually have no idea.
our fuel economy standards shifted. Vehicles are still separated by the stricter standard for passenger cars and looser standard for light trucks. But within those categories, there are more breakdowns.
Wait, but this is a loophole in the system, right?
Regulators multiply a car's wheelbase length by its width to get a footprint. And larger cars within each category
Footprint. Basically, environment footprint. That's something Europeans talk a lot.
get weaker rules. That means that car makers are not only incentivized to phase out passenger cars in their fleet, but they are pushed to make each category bigger. The Toyota Camry got both longer and wider, and the Toyota RAV4 did too. I've now reached Rhode Island, the very last state in the country to go light truck dominant. We have started the inevitable transition to electric vehicles, but
If you're still talking about a larger vehicle with
Oh, I forgot about Tesla. So, pickup trucks are more popular than Tesla in America by far. I mean, probably, right?
higher ground clearance that's heavier and taller, it's still going to be less energy efficient, whether it's an electric car or an internal combustion powered car.
one sobering impact of big cars is the threat it poses to pedestrians. One study found that
This one I understand because the car is so big that if a kid goes, you may not see it, right? I can understand the point here.
replacing the
I
growth
guess.
in SUVs with cars would have averted over 1,000 pedestrian deaths. People on foot
Really?
get hit higher and in more vulnerable regions when hit by an SUV or a truck rather than a passenger car.
Ooh, wow, that's a big difference.
Before hitting the beach, I stopped at my friend Kevin Wright's house. He's bucked the SUV trend and
Okay, this car looks like the typical car my neighbor owns.
drives a Honda Fit, a car that was discontinued in 2020.
We had our daughter about 17 months ago. It's just kind of making sure that everybody has enough space to be comfortable as well as being safe. It gets good gas mileage and thinking about long-term, climate change is happening. What can we do to minimize our carbon footprint as much as we can? So we were thinking about
With all the respect, my friends, if I was in America, I would never touch that car. I mean, I understand the environment, the tornadoes in Oklahoma, stuff like that. But I mean, if I was in America, hell yeah, brother. I'm driving a pickup truck, probably a Ram.
a second car, maybe getting an SUV.
I'm being honest. I could be saying, oh yeah, the environment. I respect the environment, salute, but no.
in that situation, but ultimately decided to kind of go the other direction and got an e-bike.
A bike? Is that even legal in America? You can... Oh,
Even though we're in Rhode Island, which was the last holdout,
oh my God. Take a look again.
even though we're in Rhode Island,
BMW, massive car. European car, by the way.
which was the
But now what the hell is this beast coming right there? Is this a Toyota?
last holdout
Oh, ooh, look at that. Oh, they are everywhere. They are everywhere.
for SUV dominance. There is still a lot of SUVs here. I'm curious if you think there's any political will or urgency to change this trend towards bigger cars.
That's
No.
something that has environmental concerns. It's something that has economic concerns with how much we are reliant on oil. It also has to do with safety, pedestrian safety, cyclist safety.
Okay, that point is the one that I understand a bit more. No, I also understand the environment, to be honest. But I think it's easier to push the narrative of pedestrian security.
So there
Safety.
is a desire among younger people and more politically active people to try to make it so that an SUV is not the default vehicle choice for American families.
The US is unlikely
But again, this is not just happening in Europe, my friends. It is also the same. SUVs are the is the type of car that sells the best. I believe that stat is official across multiple countries in Europe.
To become a small car.
Actually, my friends, anyone watching have a pickup truck massive like the ones we saw? If so, leave me a comment. And if you have a SUV that is also massive, leave me a comment and a like. Is even better. Both of you.
Country anytime soon. But this dramatic transition to big cars wasn't just about consumer choice. It was enabled by policy choice. So if we want our roads to look different, we could try and start there.
My friends, great video. I end up learning a lot about American cars, and guess what? They are really massive. So I was not wrong. I said stereotypes is not a stereotype, it's reality. That said, thank you so much for watching this with me. See you guys in the next one. Bye, my friends.